Kelsey, welcome to Women Finding Clarity.
Thank you so much.
It's so nice to have you here. For listeners who don't already know this, Kelsey and I met at a conference, and it was the Pioneer Valley Conference for Women. Is that right?
Correct.
I've been to a couple of the She's Local conferences this year, so I wanted to make sure I got it right. But in any case, Kelsey was a vendor, and I walked up to her table, and immediately I was like, you have to be on the podcast. I love your story. I love everything you're doing here. And so, welcome. And I hope you feel as welcome as I feel in this moment, because I feel like I just want to give you a big hug.
We feel great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in talking about bringing you on the show, you wanted to talk about pivoting with purpose.
Yeah.
And how I work with my clients is, let's turn around and take a look back at our life's PhD and see what brought us to where we are today. And so that's my first question for you is, how did you get here today?
Okay. So,
Big
in
question.
yes, big loaded question. In June 17th, 2022 was when I got injured in the line of duty as a police officer saving a life. During that call, my wrist got sliced open. I still managed to perform life-saving actions to the individual who I had to Narcan twice due to it being a drug overdose. And after performing those actions, I knew I needed an ambulance right away. Fast forwarding to like a couple months or a week or two later, I got surgery. Two tendons and a nerve were lacerated. And then it was a long process for recovery. And it was a very dark 18 months where I had to, being so independent, I had to rely on other people to do everything for me, such as my husband putting my hair up, my husband cooking for me, my in laws, or just anyone coming over to help me walk the dogs. Where when my husband was traveling, I then had to travel to anyone's house for them to cut up my chicken for me, to open a can of tuna, to leash up the dogs so then I can take them for a W. They're right here with me right now, so I don't want to say the
I
word.
so get that. We're always spelling.
Yeah. And so it was a very weird time for me, and it was a very dark time because I didn't really know what the future held for me. And at first, I just thought, oh, okay, this is fine. We're all going through it. And then that's when the night terrors started happening and all the trauma started happening, where I thought my job as a police officer, I treated everything such as a business transaction, because it's not Lucy's fault that Stacy was mad from the call before, where I had to go into everything as like, okay, this is a first impression every single time. I can't take this like Stacy's call and bring it to Lucy's call. Like I can't do that. And I had a lot of different calls while I have been a police officer since 2016, and the night terrors, everything was just combining. So the things that I thought was completely fine with, that I already processed, because I'm like, all right, I saved a baby, like a 7-day-old baby. Now it's time to go see this dying goose that is in the road. Like it's just one after another, or watching someone literally fall down the stairs and then their head bash against brick, build like a brick wall. Like everything where I said, oh, well, okay, it's just another day. But then like I said, the night terror started happening and everything started combining together, and to the point where I said, this isn't okay. The thoughts that I'm now feeling I know that it's not normal. So there was a lot of intrusive thoughts. And then I put myself into therapy, someone who actually works with first responders in the Western Mass area. And she was fantastic. She made me feel justified, where how I was like, oh, I feel like this. And she's like, you should feel like that. Where in my head, I'm thinking, I am messed up. And she goes, nope, this is completely normal. This is the normal process. So then after like over a year or a couple months in therapy, all these intrusive thoughts were still happening. The suicidal ideation was happening. And to the point where I want to say not even a year into my injury, I decided to take out my gun, have a bottle of champagne. And this was a day in March. And I just said, I'm literally in so much pain, physically, emotionally. I cannot go on this. I cannot go on this path anymore. I literally want to end it, just because I felt as if no one understood. Where every 6 weeks I was living my life by doctor's appointments. I then had the department and HR being like, well, why don't you just come into the station? And in my head, I go, I'm avoiding the town in general because I am having panic attacks driving by the Big Y that the incident happened. And it got to the point where I was also like, do I have to go in to a gun to my head and say, this is how much pain I'm in? And do I have to pull the trigger while I'm here to prove how much pain I'm in? And I was posting it on Instagram, just, I don't want to be another law enforcement suicide. I don't want to take my own life. I want to get better, but I'm in just so much pain. So then one day in March, like I said, I pulled my gun out. I had a bottle of champagne and I said, all right, this is going to be my last day. Like, we're going to pop open that bottle of champagne, have that celebration of life, because I cannot do this anymore. I was literally just crying all the time. I'm even looking back at photos and there's no light in my eyes. You just see straight depression. You see I'm just so numb at this point. I tell my husband, like, hey, I'm having a bottle of champagne, celebrating life. And I kept him in the dark for a lot of things, because as a police officer, it's very hard to talk about your own feelings because you always have to be the strong one. So for me, I was always, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And then it got to the point where I was not fine. And then I kind of started talking about it a little bit more, but I didn't want to tell the people that I was close to the thoughts I was feeling, because I didn't want to be talked out of it. And also, those people who plan on doing something don't talk about it. So again, in my head, I'm like, okay, like, I'm not talking about it because this is what I'm going to be doing. He then texts me because he's traveling. I already opened the bottle of, was opening the bottle of champagne, and he just goes, I'm proud of you. Random. And I go, and tears are falling, because now in my head I go, well, now I can't do it. That was my saving. Like, he literally saved my life that day. I believe it was like March 16th or 17th. And he still doesn't know unless he, really watches like my stories and listen, it's to the point where I'm not like, hey, by the way, you saved my life. But, I'm just like, generally, thank you. And then, so I had I call it my hot girl moment in the kitchen, fell down on the floor, just crying after I opened that champagne bottle. And it was a mini bottle of champagne, and then I just let all my grief out. And I remember just like howling, crying and screaming. And my animals were just like, what is going on? And everything that I was suppressing, of me being a victim of my circumstances, me being a victim from the department, the town, and just constantly having to prove myself, to prove that I'm literally not okay, but I'm really trying my hardest here. So please believe me, and please believe me to the doctors. Please believe me to everyone. And I just felt so powerless that after I cried, I just got up and I said, it's like I just brushed off my shoulders and I said, all right, it's time for me to take action. It's time for me to figure it out, because I'm sick of feeling like this. I'm sick of being in the victim mentality. And the doctors already told me I can't be a cop anymore. So I cannot keep dreading on the fact that I went to school in the academy and put 10, 12 years of my life into being a police officer, where now I have to figure it out. And what I like to say, adapt and overcome. And pivot into a different direction. So then I actually, after that hot girl moment, I texted my brother who is in the candle industry, and I said, all right, I'm serious. Can we pour candles this week? Like I need to do something. And he's like, yep, see you Friday. Because fast forward to November, a couple months prior, I said, hey, I kind of want to do self-care boxes. Would you mind if I got in the candle industry and did, a tea light and face mask and all that stuff? And he goes, yeah, I'll definitely help you, but you're not doing tea lights. You're going to do actual candles. And when you're ready, let me know. And I said, okay, great. And then once I had that, that moment of just saying, okay, I need to figure this out now. And then I texted him, and then it was just all of a sudden, boom, that Friday we poured 36 candles. I did a short launch or a quiet launch to my close friends on Instagram because who knew what was happening? And I wasn't comfortable just telling everyone like, this is now what I'm doing, because a lot of people in town and online, they didn't even know I was injured because I never advertised it. I never said, because I wasn't ever looking for pity.
Right.
People would just be like, oh, what happened? And they're like, oh, I haven't seen you on any road jobs lately. Did you switch your shift? And I'm like, nope, I've actually been out on injury for the past 9 months, like stuff like that. And because I never wanted attention in that type of way. So did a small launch to my close friends on Instagram, sold out of 36 candles in 5 days. And I said, oh, okay, I think we really have something here. Then 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later, I did another launch, but to the public. And again, I did another 36 candles, again, sold out within a couple of days. And then I just found that fire where I said, I think this is where I belong. And I think this is the point of my suffering that I kept asking God and the universe, saying, like, I know there's a purpose in this pain, and I wish you would just show me it right now. But I know I have to work through all of this before I can see the purpose. And I allowed myself to feel everything, to putting the house in night mode at 11 a.m. To then, I never wanted to open that bottle of wine until it hit 4 p.m. because I said, if I start day drinking, that's going to lead into another problem that I don't want to be another statistic of, oh, look, an alcoholic cop who got hurt on injury, or a drug addict cop who is now hooked on painkillers. Like, I just knew I couldn't go down that type of path. So I had to channel my energy into not only myself, but into just healing on my own terms and healing naturally, compared to just going through the motions and having my ego on my shoulder and saying, like, oh, here we go. I can prove that I'm better. I can prove that I can do X, Y, and Z. Where in my head I said, nope, I put everyone before me for the past couple of years as a police officer, and it's now time for me to take care of myself, my mental health, and my injury. Yeah. And so like I was forced to pivot, but I made the best out of it, and I said, well, we're just going to try something. And then I just believed in myself, because I said, I know I can do whatever I want. The classic, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Yeah. But I said, if I don't believe in me, who else is going to believe in me? And then I just thought it was extremely important to show my side of the story, to show my pain and my burdens that I had, and to also just say, you know what? I almost pulled the trigger that day, but I didn't. And now I've been in business for over a year, and I'm just under pouring probably now, like, I think I poured roughly 4,000 candles.
Wow.
Like last year I sold in the thousands, and this year we're just constantly going. So to me, it's amazing to just sit back and be like, whoa, who knew?
Amazing. Who knew? And I mean, first of all, I'm so sorry that you went through all of that. And I can't imagine it, right? Having gone through depression myself, mm-hmm. It wasn't from a traumatic injury. It wasn't from a traumatic experience that was piled on top of other traumatic experiences in my day-to-day work, right?
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine, my son wants to be a police officer, and I said, that's fantastic, and I'll be so proud of you, and you better get comfortable with going to therapy now,
Yep.
because I think it's the best thing you can do for yourself as a first responder, period.
Yes, because we're exposed to so many traumatic events
Yeah.
in a year, but not only a year, just a day and then a call, depending on where you are, regardless. Like you could be in Springfield, Massachusetts, seeing all these calls, and then, or in a small town where you respond to a hard call occasionally, but that doesn't diminish any of the calls for service, because you never know what you're going to be going into when you put on the uniform that day.
Yeah. And
You know?
that's so scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary. So, I just really want to acknowledge you, and to have everyone who's listening now or in the future acknowledge our first responders for that every single day you're willing to get up, put on the uniform, whether people love you or hate you, and do your very best to be of service to the community you're in.
Yeah. And at the same time, you want to serve them as best as you can
Right.
too. And sometimes that is putting your own mental health aside, because you have to be present and you have to be there for other people, where that's also when a lot of people you start using substances to numb the calls that they've been on. So I think it's extremely important for all first responders to get into therapy, to just
Absolutely.
talk it out. Like,
And I mean, look at you. It's not even just putting your own mental health aside so you can show up for other people. You put your physical health, safety, wellness aside. You're literally bleeding out whilst still saving someone's life.
mhm.
I mean, you're a hero, and I don't know how you feel about hearing that, but it's the honest to God truth. And I hope that the person you save is able to look at that situation and say, wow, like I need to pay attention here.
You would think.
Well, yeah.
No.
And, you know, and that's a whole nother conversation, isn't it? Because it just takes such a hold, and it's just so awful. And so in this moment, I'm going to send everyone who is addicted to any substance or any unhealthy behavior so much love and healing light. And I want to bring it back to you because, you know, I can't imagine the feelings of you sitting there that day with your bottle of champagne and saying, I'm toasting my life because this is it. And then
Mhm.
to have that text come through from your husband. I mean, to me, that was divinely guided. That was your spirit team, his spirit team working together to say, oh, this isn't good, and you need to take action.
Mhm. Yeah. It was a lot of things that happened were just so crazy, with how the universe was lining everything up, to the point where I would be asking for signs and then I would get the signs, and people are like, well, you're just open to them, or it's just a coincidence. I go, nope, it's not a coincidence on some of the things that, like, I've witnessed and I've seen, and that the things that have also saved, like, literally saved my life, to the point of, right now I am now here.
Right. Right. And so to be able to pick yourself up off of that wailing moment on the floor, where that literally was your rock bottom, that literally was, I'm on the floor and everything is just flowing out of me. I mean, I'm covered in chills just thinking about it, because you truly cleared. It was a spiritual clearing that you had in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, definitely. It was, like I said, when I got up and I felt 10 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
I just was like, oh, whatever was just weighing so heavily on me is now gone. And now it's time for me to just say, no one's coming to save me at all. No one's going to save me in any circumstance. I have to be the one to save myself, and I have to be the one to take action. And one of the things I always say to, because I'm also a personal trainer and nutritionist, and and just in general, like I always tell my clients, I say, no one is going to wipe your own ass for you. You have to wipe your own ass, and like however people want to take that, they can take it. But it's like when you have a baby, when you're, you have to you have to wipe the baby's bum.
Yeah.
You're the one taking care of the baby, but then eventually the baby then is a toddler, and the toddler is then potty training and going to the bathroom by themselves, and they're the ones taking care of them, like, and it should transfer into adulthood. No one's saving you. You have to be your own hero to your own story. And if you don't allow the pivot to happen, then you're going to be stuck in the rut for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the pivot is just so beautiful. And there's so much we can say about the pivot, but your pivot is just so inspiring. I mean, the women that I saw gathered around your table, and everybody wanted to know, oh, this candle, and oh, did you smell this? And oh, look how great this is, pointing at everything. What you're bringing into the world is still, okay, maybe you're not out saving physical lives today, but what you're doing is you're supporting other people's wellness.
Yeah. And that's also, when I was a cop, I always wanted to be there for other people. And I wanted to be the one that believed other people when other people weren't believing them anymore. And so I named a lot of my candles how I was feeling or how I wanted to feel during my deep, dark times, where people would be like, how are you? And in my head, I'm like, you don't care how I feel. Like, you're just asking the general question. And no matter what I said, it's going to go right over your head. So I named a candle Surviving, because I survived that day, June 17th of 22. And then I survived the day of every single day I survived, where I didn't think I was going to wake up the next day. When my birthday happened in January, I didn't think I would live to see another day. I didn't think I would live to see another birthday. And then I have a pure harmony candle, because all I wanted was just pure harmony in my head and in my life, and rather than all this chaos. And then I have a Born to Thrive candle, where that's a champagne rosé candle, actually. So the Born to Thrive, because it's like we were all literally born to thrive, and how people are like, oh, surviving or thriving, depending on the day. Yeah, take that how you want. But when you're thriving, what are you thinking of? You're thinking of, okay, I'm thriving, I'm moving forward, and let's celebrate this accomplishment, and let's celebrate this thrive. So then that's why I really wanted the champagne rosé, because it also comes back to that day where I opened that bottle of champagne as well.
Yes. Whew. Makes me have to take a big old breath. I love it. And then some of them are just so cute. Like one of my favorites that I've seen is mom's last nerve. Oh, look, it's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so once I started, because at first I didn't want to start with any of like the graphic candles, and I wanted to stay organic with my signature line of, the ones that I'm like, all right, this one really saved my life, or this is how I really wanted to feel. I really needed Zen, or like the sweet bliss. I wanted to just drink a pina colada like on the beach, but instead I'm stuck at my house in my backyard of Chicopee. And then once like I said, I started getting more custom personalization requests from people. And then I said, oh, okay, like this is also kind of what the people want too. And then I just got to be so creative with just in this entire process, where I started to show my creativity even more, because I love graphic design. I love doing all that stuff. So when I can think of funny sayings and also design all the labels myself, that to me is just so much fun. So for Father's Day, I had Dad's last nerve. Oh, look, it's on fire. Or for the Father's Day one, I also had one that says, Dad, thanks for putting up with my shit. This candle should help with yours, like, it's just like stuff where it's kind of like that witty and then sassy. And then you're like, ooh, but then it's also like, they're all good for any occasion as well.
But look at how far you've come, right? Look at thriving, surviving, fearless, limitless, to, oh, dad's last nerve, mom's last nerve. Oh, look, it's on fire. Thanks for putting up with my shit. All of that. I've got golfers in my family, so may the course be with you.
Yep.
Like, you're just so much more lighthearted, and the energy that comes through in the labels is just, it's a perfect journey. Like, it shows your journey of merely surviving to lightheartedness, and then you've got everything along the way.
Exactly. And if you told me even this time last year, when I was only 2 months into my candle business and had maybe 3 pop-up events under my belt, I would be like, no, I don't even know where I'm going to be. I just want to keep moving forward. And now for the 2024 year, I have over 160 events scheduled, and I've probably already completed maybe 75 of them already, and it's June 24th for the year. It's like I haven't stopped. And I love it.
And you love it. And the smile on your face says it all. Like, as you're talking about it, your shoulders go down, you're smiling, your eyes light up, and it feeds that place inside of us that's our innate creativity. We are innately creative beings. We're here to create, right? We're here to create love. We're here to create passion. We're here to create harmony and connection and all the things. And this is your pathway to creation, and it totally lights you up.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. I mean, this is why I knew you needed to come on, because you're such a perfect, beautifully awful example of using your life's PhD to bring it forward and now be of service to others in a different way, and to be creative and to really thrive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Amazing. So where can people find you? Because people are absolutely going to want to find you. And do you have anything that you'd like to offer listeners?
Yes. So you can find me. I have 2 Instagram pages. I have my Instagram page is my like personal one is Kelsey Fit Life. And then my business one is Pearl and Company _. So Pearl is like the pearl in the oyster, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and Company _. And so that Instagram handle actually came from, I named the company after my animals, where Pearl is my soul dog, and she's also the one who would always come and check up on me. And then the and Company is our other dog and our 2 other cats. And it's like, they were also my backbone too, because when I was, struggling, they were always just laying on top of me. And I'm like, you're not a lap dog, but okay. So Pearl and Company _ on Instagram, also on Facebook, Pearl and Company or Kelsey Wilson. And you can shop my candles at www.pearlncompany.com. That N is an actual N, not and. And I want to offer listeners 15% off for my website by using the code Clarity.
Beautiful. So I'm going to put your website, it's already in show notes, and with the code Clarity for 15% off. So I encourage everyone to just pop over, grab a candle. Great to grab one for someone else as a gift, but grab one for yourself. Grab one that speaks to you. Grab one that really feels like it feeds your soul or nourishes your soul or soothes your soul. Because I'm telling you, when you see these and you smell these and you feel the energy in these candles, you're going to be so glad you also got one for yourself.
And also, I want to just announce that since I'm redoing my website and having everything come full circle now, within being in my business for now over a year, I wanted to start. When I first wanted to start, I wanted to do those self-care boxes. And drum roll, I'm I'm going to be offering subscription boxes 4 times a year, and each box will come with a candle, and that is either a limited edition, a new candle before anyone else sees it, a new fragrance, or just, a new like holiday scent or spring scent that is coming up. So the subscription holders are going to be the ones that have first access to all of that. And it's also going to be a self-care box as well. So you're going to have your eye gels, your face mask, your lip mask, and it's also going to come with something that's also candle related. So the first box I'm going to offer, like, put in a wick clip, and then the second one might be a lighter or matches, or, those are down the road things. But the first subscription boxes are going to be going out in August. So, and there's only going to be 30 of them that are offered. So first come, first serve, baby.
Yeah, so jump on it. That sounds amazing.
Mhm.
Kelsey, I am so excited for you. I think your future is so bright, lit up by all your candles. And I thank you for being here and sharing your story. Thank you for being a hero, not only for everyone else, but also for yourself. You're just such a beautiful example of life.
Thank you. Appreciate it.